The day after the federal government gave Governor Bredesen of Tennessee the right to dismantle Tenncare, people took to the sidewalks and the stage at Centennial Park to protest the loss of health insurance and surely the loss of many innocent lives, people whose only crime is being too sick and or poor to afford their life-sustaining medications and medical care. Why, you ask, would the governor do this? To balance the budget. Tony Garb, the Tennessee Healthcare Campaign, elaborates.
We realized that what was being proposed by this governor is actually very dangerous.
What the governor is talking about is pulling the plug, actually taking the health insurance away from thousands of people. Not just a few, not 100 or so, but we're talking about thousands of folks. We're talking about all of a sudden taking their medication away. But we're not talking about taking away medications that might cost $100 or $10 or co-payments. We're talking about people whose medical conditions are so serious that they're not going to be able to afford the $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 per month that they need to pay for their medical conditions. So we're talking about people dying, not in the spotlight, not that's going to be on TV, but they're going to die slowly, they're going to die quietly, they're going to die out of the spotlight. They will die slowly. It may take them 4 or 5 weeks to die, but they're going to die, and they're going to die because this governor has taken away the life support from these people.
What are you going to do?
I'm not quite sure. I don't believe that I'm willing to go back to a nursing home. And that doesn't leave me many alternatives.
When you say that, do you have any family, friends that could come stay with you on a 24-hour basis to adjust your breathing tubes, your respirator, feed you? What's going to happen when you lose your home health care nurses?
Well, I'll either have to make a decision to just stay here and die or go back to a nursing home and die there a slower death.
My name is Lisa D'Souza. I'm a staff attorney with the Tennessee Justice Center, and this is my baby daughter, Kavi, who comes to work with me every day. The Tennessee Justice Center is a nonprofit law office. We represent low-income families, usually with regard to benefits. All of our clients are the people who are on Tenncare. We're also a nonpartisan office. We don't have any political affiliations. The reason for the cuts in the Tenncare program as they've been proposed really have little to do with the budget situation. And the story that I'm going to tell you starts in 2002, and it's fairly incredible. People have a hard time believing the story that we've been telling, and we're not telling it to be partisan. We're not telling it because we have a grudge against the current administration. We are telling the story because it's true. We have reviewed thousands of documents that we received from the state, and what we found out is what I'm going to tell you right now, which is starting in 2002, now Governor Bredesen campaigned on a platform of fixing Tenncare. He promised that he would reform the program, and he recognized that there was a serious need for reform, which I think all of us recognize. Immediately after he was elected, in interviews that were printed in the press, he said that one of the problems with Tenncare was that the MCOs, the managed care organizations, are overpaid, that they're not bearing any risk in the program, and that they're not managing care. In early 2003, after he was inaugurated, Governor Bredesen began negotiating with our office to settle 4 class action lawsuits that we have against the state. By the end of the summer, we had completed negotiations and entered into settlement agreements, and Governor Bredesen had said at that time that these settlement agreements put the state in the driver's seat to be able to manage Tenncare and reform the program. He made promises then that he would implement reforms, and nothing happened. Into 2002, Tenncare reform still hadn't happening. No changes were affected. And in February of 2004, the governor announced that he was going to reform the program. He invited advocates to work with him in creating a reform package, and in fact, the Tennessee Justice Center and advocates across the state began meeting to suggest reforms to the governor. In September of 2004, the governor submitted a reform proposal to the federal government. That reform proposal included no disenrollments. Under the September plan, no one was going to be cut off Tenncare. At the same time, in September of 2004, the state claimed to have discovered, suddenly, a deficit of $130 million in the Tenncare program. Actually, state documents that we found reveal they knew about the deficit as early as June of 2004, and in fact, in 2003, when the McKinsey report was written, they were projecting a deficit of a similar amount. In October of 2004, internal state documents reveal that the state had already decided that mass disenrollments were going to be necessary. And they knew that operationally they couldn't implement the reform packages that were being proposed. Their systems were not capable of maintaining information about the benefit limits that they had suggested were necessary in September. On November 1st, internal emails from the state that we have reveal that the administration had a political strategy, and that strategy was to blame the Tennessee Justice Center for the problems in Tenncare. On November 10th, after the midterm elections, for the first time, the administration announced that they were going to make these cuts to the Tenncare enrollment. And that was a strategy, and that was a decision to make the announcement only after the elections happened.
In an email dated November 19, 2004 from David Getz, Commissioner of Finance and Administration, to the Director of Tenncare, J.D. Hickey, Getz states, "To hell with the Tennessee Justice Center. We're making a run at reform. Stop us if you can."
Immediately after that announcement, our office made an offer to the state that we would stand down for 2 years. We would cease litigation for 2 years to allow the governor to implement whatever reform package he thought was necessary, as long as that reform package did not include termination or mass disenrollment of people from Tenncare. Publicly, the administration said they would negotiate with us and would consider our offer. Internal documents at the same time revealed that they had no intention of negotiating with our office and that they would reject our offer without examining the cost.
We obtained confidential documents dated November 22, 2004 from the governor's office, which confirms what Ms. D'Souza says. The governor, while publicly chastising Gordon Bonnyman and other Tenncare advocates, privately was not negotiating in good faith. And the most compelling and damning evidence the governor has no intention of trying to reach any settlements that might save Tenncare is the confidential memo that reads, "Prevent alternative proposals, e.g. savings, revenue generation, enrollment." Again, it says prevent alternative proposals.
In December, the state offered TJC 2 options. One was an option that called for 97,000 people being disenrolled from Tenncare. The second option included about 150,000 people being disenrolled from Tenncare. Our office said that was unacceptable. We could not accept an option that called for mass disenrollments of our clients from Tenncare coverage. Publicly, the state said they had offered TJC an option that included no disenrollments, and that was not true. We never received such an offer. And then in February of 2005, the state filed with the federal government its latest reform package. That reform package called for hundreds of thousands of people being terminated from Tenncare, far greater than had previously been suggested in the press or otherwise. There were also deep benefit cuts, the 4-prescription limit, serious limits on how often people could visit the doctor. What we found out from internal documents is that these very deep cuts are what the state calls front-loaded. They're making cuts now to start this year, even though the budget situation doesn't call for them. And the reason that their internal documents say they're making these cuts is because they don't want to have to make them next year. Why is that? Because next year is an election year. And this administration doesn't want anyone talking about Tenncare reform while they're campaigning for re-election. And this administration doesn't want anyone to be aware of the problem or remember what was going on when the campaign is happening for re-election. We also found internal documents that say they want to front-load the bad news to allow add-backs later. So what they want to happen now is make the cuts, make it hurt this year, and next year when they're campaigning for reform, they're going to be adding back benefits to make it seem as if they're magnanimous, to make it seem as if they're doing something to help people, when in fact they're helping the people that they're hurting now. They're going to help them later and hope that that gives them a good spin in the media.
Confidential documents confirm what Ms. D'Souza just said. On page 10 of the Return to Medicaid report, it states, front-load bad news, allowing add-backs later. And page 3 of the Back to Medicaid confidential memo underscores that politics is indeed a major consideration in the overall strategy of the cuts. Build back enrollment through alternative programs in year 2. In other words, in 2006, when the governor runs for re-election, they'll re-enroll some of those dropped from Tenncare.
I just want to be clear about this. The administration's cutting deeply now to give a benefit later. They know now that the cuts they're going to be making are unnecessary, and they know they're going to hurt people now for a political gain.
The governor is proposing to cut the sickest people, the poorest people, and the least of these, the ones who need it most.
My name is Lori Smith, and yes, I am a Tenncare enrollee. I am on Tenncare because I am uninsured and uninsurable. I have lupus, multiple sclerosis, and a pulmonary sequestration in my lung. The governor singled me out and made a comment in the Washington Post that I am the poster child for liberal advocates and media shows, and that it is my fault, along with 30,000 other Tenncare enrollees, that we have made lifestyle choices to work for companies that don't provide insurance, and that we don't work for corporations or the state, who do. If I lose Tenncare, there is not only the potential, and it's quite likely, that I will become disabled if I don't get the medical care that I need, and lupus can be a fatal disease. So I'm looking at not only becoming disabled and not being able to remain self-supporting, I'm looking at dying.
Someone tipped me off that the governor was across the street from the rally. You get me?
I just asked if you were willing to be at the Tenncare rally today, or if you would like to speak at it.
He was gracious and answered all our questions.
If I could ask you just one more question. There's all this going on with Terry Schiavo to save one woman, and I don't want my life support pulled from me. What do you have to say to people, to me and to people like me that will die without our medications?
I certainly don't want anything that don't play in anyone who's going to die as a result of any of this.
What did he say?
No, I certainly don't want anything that don't play in anyone who's going to die as a result of any of this.
I'm certainly glad he doesn't blame anyone who is going to die as a result of his cuts, and I'm glad he finally publicly acknowledged his cuts will cause people to die.
You know, I think all of us would want to believe that we're really good people. I believe that Governor Bredesen and his committee and those folks who got together and devised this strategy to try to deal with this fiscal crisis really believe that they're doing a good thing. But you know, they tell me that sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Woo! If the road to hell is paved with good intentions, then the road to change is people in the streets. Less than 2 weeks after the rally at Centennial Park, the masses filled the streets of downtown Nashville to march to the Capitol. People came from all around the state to make sure their voices were heard. They let it be known that cutting Tenncare is a catastrophe of biblical proportions. Those who are currently taking medicines for organ transplants to keep their bodies from rejecting the new organs will lose their medicines. Those with manageable high blood pressure and high triglycerides will also lose their medications, and a certain amount of those people will go on to have strokes and heart attacks, almost all preventable with their lifelines. Many people suffer from depression who are able to work because of their medications. They will no longer be able to function. Those with more serious conditions such as bipolar disorder or schizophrenia could end up homeless or in jail or dead without their medications. The governor sure missed the mark on saving money with these cuts. This will be financially disastrous as well when people fill overcrowded emergency rooms and force some hospitals to go out of business. Where is our defender of life? Our Senator Bill Frist during all of this? His silence is deafening.
I wrote Senator Frist a very long letter pleading that he help myself and the other 323,000 people that are to be cut from Tenncare. And I have yet to get a response. I sent him and Lamar Alexander a similar letter, and I haven't heard one word. I resent the same letter just a few days ago in hopes that I can get some kind of response.
How does that make you feel that Senator Frist fought so hard for Terry Schiavo's life? The Congress was reconvened. President Bush flew back from his vacation. First time in his administration he did that. He didn't even do that for the tsunami. To save one woman in a vegetative state. 323,000 people have just been cut. Many people like you, their lifelines being pulled. And here you are on camera saying, don't pull my lifeline. How does that make you feel about Senator Frist? What do you want to say to Congress? What do you want to say to your senators?
Well, I'm pretty confused, especially since I did vote for Senator Frist and for George Bush. You know, I'm fighting for my life, and I feel that he is and somewhat responsible for what goes on with our state. Even though he's on a federal level, I think he should try to do something to help his own state out.
He's already shown he'll go to the floor, as he did for Terry Schiavo. So we know that Senator Frist can do this.
Well, I would appreciate him doing it on my behalf and on behalf of the other people in Tennessee that are facing these cuts.
And our senator, Senator Frist, is not only a doctor, he's also the majority leader in the Senate. You have to wonder if anyone's ever gone to Senator Frist and asked him to help the hundreds of thousands of his constituents that are standing to lose coverage. And what's going to happen to them?
My name is Courtney Jenkins, and I'm the coordinator of the Tenncare Saves Lives Coalition. Every Tennessean is going to be impacted by the Tenncare cuts, not just those enrollees that are completely losing their health coverage, and those are the sickest, most vulnerable Tennesseans, but every Tennessean will be impacted by the Tenncare cuts. In counties like Shelby County, over 30,000 Shelby County residents are completely losing their health coverage. In East Tennessee and Knox County, over 20,000 Knox County residents are completely losing their health coverage. Over the state, 323,000 Tennesseans are losing their health coverage. An additional 396,000 Tennesseans will have serious medical benefit reductions, which means to 4 prescription drug limits a month, 12 doctor visits a year, and 10 lab visits a year. every Tennessean will be impacted, even those that are fortunate enough to have private insurance. They will see the impact of these cuts in their own premiums, because we all know that when you are very sick, you need some place to go, and they will show up at the hospitals, and we will all see the premiums in our insurance go up. Unfortunately, Tennessee is not alone in this Medicaid crisis. One of our sister states, Mississippi, faced something very similar, although their reductions in people losing their Medicaid was much smaller. They were facing a 60,000 disenrollment in the state of Mississippi. But what they did to help stop these cuts is they got mobilized, and that is what Tennesseans need to remember, is that we have got to get mobilized. Once people got their letters in Mississippi to notify them they were losing their health coverage, massive mobilization took place across the state. There were people contacting their local officials, from their mayors to their councilmen, all the way up to the governor's office and to their state legislature. And they came out in numbers in support of saying that these cuts are wrong and that we won't stand for it. Although the budget has been passed, Tennesseans cannot give up hope. We have still got to keep fighting for people's health care. One thing that every Tennessean has got to remember is that contacting your local officials, from your mayor, much like the people did in Mississippi, all the way to your state elected officials, is crucial. They have got to know that Tennesseans, not only the enrollees, but other Tennesseans, are very worried and scared about what's going to happen to people on Tenncare and the Tenncare program. They have got to contact their elected officials. The day we start thinking that these Tenncare cuts are a done deal is the day that we have totally given up. We cannot start thinking this is a done deal, because once the day we start saying it's a done deal, then the governor has taken away everyone's Tenncare without a fight. We've got to say that they've got to come back to the table. There are ways to better manage the program. There are ways to get responsible reform, and there are ways to save 323,000 people's health care.
Governor Bredesen! Do the math! Governor Bredesen! Do the math! Amen. Let's give God a hand clap of praise. Walk with me, Lord. Come on, Brother Pastor. Where my Memphis Pastor? Let me get your name. What's your name, Pastor? Bogart. East Toward Bogart. Oh yeah, I've heard of the Bogart brothers. Amen. I asked them to come and sing, "Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me." All of y'all can join in this. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me. Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me.
Just a few days after this rally, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled Governor Bredesen could proceed with the cuts to Tenncare. The state legislators approved the governor's budget the last weekend of May, and on June 6, 2005, the letters of disenrollment were sent out to Tenncare enrollees. 2 weeks after the ruling by the Sixth Circuit Court, Tenncare advocates started the longest continuous sit-in in American history at the state capitol. For 77 days and nights, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, protesters occupied the governor's outer office.
There's a lot of people out there that are too afraid to come up here. And I think if we keep doing what we're doing, I think we're going to turn this thing around. I believe that with everything.
We are in the anteroom or the receiving room of the governor's office on Capitol Hill in Nashville, Tennessee. My name is Lisa Abel, and I'm from East Nashville. I'm currently a Tenncare enrollee, yes. I was busy studying different subjects. I got a degree in hypnotherapy, I got a degree in film editing, and in the middle of studying for that degree, I got really, really sick. And some people over at Matthew Walker Health Center offered to help me get on Tenncare. And I was able to get on because I had both low income and I was uninsurable. it turned out to be a lucky thing because I had a series of health problems that, because I was on Tenncare, I was able to take care of, and now I'm much healthier. So when cuts started being discussed, I was really surprised because I thought that this was a great move on McWhorter's part. McWhorter was the one who instituted Tenncare because he felt that the states could do a better job of taking care of their citizens than the federal government. And in truth, I think I've had really good care from Tenncare, and I was thinking it would be a great way to try to make state health care available for all Tennesseans, and that should be the next step. And I was really surprised that Tennessee decided to step back from that completely. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think if everyone were able to sign on to Tenncare, it would be a good thing. So I was really surprised that they wanted to just try to scale back and eliminate the program. So I've been trying to write and call and raise a ruckus for a while, and now it's gotten down to the wire where our voices haven't been heard. So I felt that it was time to come down and sit here until I was heard by the governor. It's true that I need regular care for the rest of my life. I'm not a person who's taking a lot of money out of that system, but that's good. We should have people who can put into the system that don't take as much out. That would help it be more viable. But I am first on the list of people to be cut, which is uninsurables. I would say, Governor Bredesen, I think he gained a lot of skills in the area of healthcare ownership and management, but maybe not in healthcare providing. The people who are providing healthcare services to the needy and the sick are the ones who need to be able to design this program, and that's doctors, nurses, caregivers, and enrollees. And we're here to help you figure out how to do that. There's a lot of brilliant ideas. There's a lot of talent in the group of enrollees. We're just a slice of the population who happen to get sick or hasn't been able to make enough money or some combination thereof. But we have a lot of talent and a lot to offer by way of helping construct a government that will serve us.
My name is David M. Klein. Stop those cuts from happening. That's it.
My name is Randy Alexander. Right now we're sitting in the the governor's reception room with the mural of the state of Tennessee's history and oppression around us. It's an amazing interpretational piece of the Tennessee history, and it's actually pretty interesting. It's like one scene of oppression after another. Governor, we are here to work on this issue with you. If you would realize, we just want to hear what the issues are. Why won't they work? If you say you ran on the ticket of saving Tenncare, then you met with the attorneys and everything and wrote up the dissent decrees to save Tenncare. Then, after all that was done, you crashed it. And now you're making cuts, the largest cuts ever. We're coming to you and saying, okay, you say you want to save Tenncare. We want to save Tenncare. We want health care for people. Let's work together to make that happen. I mean, if we look at the real core of this issue, people are going to die. I mean, I know people that right now are on the balance of life and death now, and they have life because of Tenncare. If they lose that, they're not going to make it a couple of months. And he didn't want to blame anybody because it's really his own butt he would have to blame. But I'm not here to blame people either. You know, we want to fix this. We want to work with him to fix it. But, I mean, damn it. And of course he doesn't want to blame anybody because he'd have to look in a mirror to do it.
My name is Karl Meyers. Well, it was my hope that the direct action might catalyze a response from Tenncare enrollees and Tenncare recipients, because my experience since coming to Tennessee from Chicago 8 years ago is the people of Nashville are politically quite passive. The people of Tennessee are politically quite passive. And I was hoping that because people are going to be deeply affected by this, and there are so many of them, that they would come together and sort of undertake a popular revolt against the Tenncare Cuts. Because the only way to stop the Tenncare Cuts at this point would be a mass revolt by those who are being subjected to them. Well, that's my perspective on it. I think that the movement on Tenncare has it has missed the boat in not pointing out Governor Bredesen's partiality, his way of looking at things as a person whose entire career, whose entire ambitions, whose entire fortune is based on that approach to medical care, that it's something to make a profit out of. And we've missed the boat in not pointing out that the people of the United States and the people of Tennessee have the power and should control the pricing and the profits in medical care, so that medical care could be available to everybody.
Open his heart.
Oh Lord, kumbaya, kumbaya. Some are dying, my Lord, kumbaya. Some are dying, my Lord, kumbaya. Some are dying, my Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya, kumbaya. Carry us, my Lord, kumbaya. Carry us, my Lord, kumbaya. Carry us, my Lord, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya, kumbaya. Oh Lord, kumbaya, kumbaya.
Each toll represents 10 enrollees who are being cut off or facing severe benefit limits. By 8:48 p.m. on Sunday, July 31st, 2005, the bell tolled 71,900 tolls for 719,000 Tenncare enrollees.
And we've come to witness to our faith as we celebrate the life of James E. Bryan, a life that started on January the 22nd and ended on August the 28th, 2005.
I do ask each one of you call your governor or anybody to help get everybody back on Tenncare. They do have the money. And I have lost Jim. And he loved life itself. And he would love every one of you all that was here just by walking up and talking to each and every one of you all. And tomorrow we will be married 29 years. And yeah, I will be at the cemetery putting flowers on his grave. They might have taken him from me because of his medicine, but I still have his heart and his memories deep down inside me and through his 3 kids and his 2 grandchild. His grandkids are not old enough to really understand what happened to their papa, and they may not remember their papa because they are so young. But I will make sure they will know him through his pictures and through his words. I just don't want anybody else to have to bury someone of the ones they love. I have 3 kids. I may end up burying one of them because I can't get medicine for them. If my youngest boy gets hurt tomorrow and blood starts bleeding, he could bleed to death because he has no Tenncare. He has no insurance whatsoever. Without the clotting factors that he desperately needs, so I don't know what might happen to him next, or my daughter. So I'm asking each and every one of you all that's here tonight, and anybody that sees this telecast, to go out and make a stand for Tenncare. It can be done. And if nothing else, please do it for me in memory of Jim. Thank each and every one of you all for being here tonight.
Yes. My prayer on the way over here, as I was sitting here in the service, is, Lord, please deliver us from evil. And what I would ask all of our elected officials, Governor Bredesen, Senator Frist, and our legislators, is save us from evil. You have power and you have the authority. Help us. Our hope will lie in continuing to stand together in solidarity, to speak the truth when it's not easy, to have the courage when it's hard to speak out, when your heart is breaking, to continue to build our movement and ask for justice and to demand justice, because dying in vain is not justice and it's unacceptable, and we as a community have to hold our elected officials responsible for this.
If you had anything to say to him, what would you say to Governor Bredesen right now?
Please reinstate Tenncare. He can do it. He has the money. Do it now before someone else dies.
I'm not going to go to a nursing home to let those folks kill me or take away and live in fear the rest of my life. What little I might have left. I'd rather stay here on my own, part of one day, and die as a method of my own choosing.
Be my friend, Lord. Come on and be my friend. Be my friend, Lord. Be my friend. While I'm on this eager journey, I want you, Lord. Come on and be my friend. Hold my hand, Lord. Come on, hold my hand. Hold my hand, Lord. Hold my hand. While I'm on this eager journey, yeah, I want you, Lord. Be my friend, Lord. Come on and be my friend. Be my friend, Lord. Be my friend. While I'm on this eager journey, I want you.